And speaking on Virgin Media Sport tonight, Brian Kerr, not too impressed ultimately with Spurs' lack of squad depth.
It's a mental weakness. It's a weakness in the players. So you bring on, I mean, Graham is not a fan of Lamela, and neither am I, because I think he's too loose. He's not reliable defensively. Yes, he can do magic in the final third of the pitch. He's just come back after being out injured for a long time. Scored a couple of goals recently. Actually, I think he's got 4 or 5 goals. But, you know, when Lloris went off, we were discussing who would you least want to have on the pitch in your 10? He took off Son because Lamela is fresh on the pitch. I would have preferred to have Son still on the pitch because he's more reliable. If you're defending with 10 and you're defending a lead and 3 points, big results to get, if you're down to 10, Lamela's on the pitch.
He's not your man.
He's not your man. So it's a weakness of Sanchez, a weakness in him, there's a weakness of 1 or 2 others, that the squad is not good enough to do the business. Against Inter, as Kevin said, 86th minute, they're winning the match. Winks is on the pitch late tonight as well.
They should be sitting with 6 points after...
It's going to be
Yeah, as Tommy says, they should have 6 points, and
I think they were lucky tonight. That Sanchez goal really should have been given. There's no real explanation as to why that was given for offside. And you're talking about possibly a 3-1 lead at the breakdown and Spurs cruising. That's a different game.
No, it's true, but there is an issue with the squad for sure. I mean, this season when really all they looked at was Jack Grealish and then didn't in the end buy. And like Pochettino makes the argument that, well, we're going to buy someone if they can improve the team. They may actually have to go out and buy a few that can just improve the squad.
Well, you mentioned that in terms of Liverpool earlier on in the news round, that they pinpointed who exactly they wanted, and if they couldn't get them, then, well, you know, they didn't need anybody else, or they didn't want to get anybody else in their stead. Spurs have taken pretty much the same tactic.
They have.
And it hasn't worked for them where it has for Liverpool.
To be fair to Liverpool, so they do have a bit of depth. So Lovren's on the bench this evening, and it's the midfield where Liverpool have really bulked up. You know, last year when Chamberlain got injured, they had, basically they were down to Milner and Henderson and Wijnaldum. So now you look at them and suddenly Keita's come in, big player, and then Fabinho's playing this evening. And
players like Lallana are fringe players.
Lallana's come back in, So they've got more in midfield, where Spurs are still kind of 12, 13 players in. For Europe, you feel?
Well, Spurs still have a decent midfield. Like Harry Winks and Lamela started on the bench tonight. And I think they're both really decent players. I think Brian's been a bit harsh on Lamela, who's been really good in the last couple of games.
He's loose.
He is unreliable, I'll give him that. But he did come off the bench. Like, it's not as if he started this evening either. Like, your problem is ultimately the starting 11, who didn't fare too badly. And if it wasn't for that disallowed goal and the sending off of Lloris, that's a different game.
Do you think so, though? Because his point is, well, who do they have to bring off the bench? And it's Lamela. You know, the starting 11 did very well.
They still haven't found what their actual problem is. They still haven't found adequate support or help or replacement for Harry Kane if things aren't firing for him. Or, you know, because essentially they had Llorente in there as a backup. That necessarily hasn't even worked. There seems to be a lack of options and a lack of fluidity in the final third. They're happy to sit with that 4-2-3-1, and there isn't too much deviation from that at all. And if they do deviate from it, then they're in real trouble and look kind of rudderless.
Well, they're certainly in real trouble in Europe now. Virgin Media Sport is the new home of European football in Ireland. More than 400 UEFA Champions League, Europa League, Nations League games live this season. Virgin Media Sport exclusive to all Virgin Media TV customers, who can also download the TV Anywhere app and stream all the action whenever and wherever they like. So Spurs was on the agenda this evening.